Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes. Mitzvas near Chanuka. We're in the middle of Ois Zion. Okay, this shir is for refuah shleimah for Chaim, Refael, Ben Sarah, Bentzion Ben Sarah, Chaim, Eliezer, Ben, Raisa, Esther, and Elka Rochel, Bas, aleeza. Shall I have the speed refuah shleimah? Okay, so we were discussing that when the war is, when we come with Mesiras Nefesh, so then the victory is complete victory. That's not what we're saying. Because when we take a Yechida is level, and it's above everything, and it's the core of everything. So therefore, but the level of Yechida is nothing menaged. There's nothing menaged to it. It reaches a level that there's no opposing forces. And like in simple terms within ourselves, that there's parts of us that we have opposing forces within us, like it talks in Tanya. And so sometimes we want to do one thing, and some parts of the day we want to do something else, and they're opposing each other. Whereas when you tap into the Yechidah, you're all one. And that's what he says also, that because of that, you hit the Nefesh Bahamis is the one that makes the Mesiras Nefesh. Because the Neshama doesn't lose anything by dying, but the Nefesh Bahamis does. The Mesiras Nefesh is by the Nefesh Bahamis. But the point is, that's what that this victory over the Ivanim, when you come from a level of Mesiras Nefesh, is a complete victory. Yeah, and we'll go from page 290 in this sefer, in the middle of Ois Zion. Now we can understand why the lights of Chanuka is different than the lights of the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, because one was 7 and the menorah is 8. The name is Manulagasim, and also the time, which we essentially answered the question in the beginning, but now you would say it's a full-bodied answer. We have a lot more information. So also the time of the lighting that we lighted at Shkia, whereas by the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash was lit before, and an hour and a quarter before. Why? So what's why is it like this? Because Chanuka is all about the avodah Mesiras Nefesh. It's totally giving yourself over to the cause, which is coming from this level of Yechidah, which is totally above the state of Ishtalshlus, above the nature, above your limited nature and the nature of the world. Adam, and also within a person. And that's why it's 8. Because 8 is, like we talked about before, shows on above nature. And that's what you're tapping into within you, this level above nature. The Mitzvah ches, because the Mitzvah ches, kashu kenizgal el b'sif aluf, was ches, like we said in the beginning, the first ois, in bechina shalman mishdashlus, it's a level above Sidi Ishtashlus. B'dugmas, achiluk bein kiner, the Beis Hamikdash, hayash shibnim, it's like the kiner, like the harp in the Beis Hamikdash, which was part of, only had 7 strings. Whereas the kiner shemes Mashiach, she shmeina nominal, but when Mashiach comes, the harp in the Beis Hamikdash will be 8 strings. Because like I said, again, 8 is showing this transcendence. Now, even though the Beis Hamikdash, we're not saying the Beis Hamikdash is not holy, it's not special. It is. It's holy and very special. But specifically the Kinner, which is drawing down from this level of Havaya, Shem Havaya, which is godliness, a very high level of godliness. The Kinner, the Kinner comes from the word Chavav Ner. Chavav is 26, which is the Shem Havaya. The Hey, the Vav, the Yud, and Hey. The Yud is 10, and 2 Heys is 20, and a Vav 6. The Chavav Ner, lighting up from this level of Havaya. So it is a very high level. Ner Havaya Nish Adam, like it says that the light of Hashem is in the neshama of a person. The lamp of Hashem is in the soul of man. But nevertheless, so all this that the Beis Hamikdash achieves, and this is a very important point, saying the Beis Hamikdash is very high, very spiritual, very lofty, and very great. And what it achieves is very amazing, and it does. And that's why the Kinnor in the Beis Hamikdash was 7. The Kinnor is in the Beis Hamikdash, the holiest place. But the Beis Hamikdash was the completion in Tzedek Ishtashlus. And what we achieve on Chanuka is totally above Seder Shtalshalos. And that's why the kinnah had 7 branches, 7 strings. Unlike when Mashiach comes, when Mashiach comes, we reach a level that's higher than Seder Shtalshalos. Shema Vayei Del Eila, which is the Shema Vayei above, which is a high level of Shema Vayei. So and that's why it's 8. So what we're saying is that the Beis Hamikdash, in comparison, it's weird, but we're saying this Mikdash in comparison to Chanuka is greater. Because Chanuka taps in, reaches a level that's totally above. Say the Beis Hamikdash is like the completion of everything in nature. The highest level in nature, whereas the Chanuka is a whole different madrega, a whole different world. It's Al-Maim Seder Shtalshalos. This is also why, just like the kinnah that we talked about, this is the same reason for the Chanuka. That in the Mikdash was 7, whereas in the Chanuka is 8, and also the Chanuka is also the time. This is also now we can appreciate the time difference. Why are we lighting later than the time of the Beis Mikdash? Because the mitzvah begins when the sun sets. Why? Because when we're able to live our lives based on this level of yichida, when we're really connected and we're tapping to that level that we're one with Hashem, what happens? So therefore, all the darkness in our lives and all the darkness in the world around us, we can light up. And not just on this level. The darkness doesn't conceal. So you're able to do that it transforms to light, meaning you're able to take things that were negative, that were dark, that were things that you looked negatively on, or not that you looked negative on, they were negative, things that why does this happen to me? And I wish this never ever happened. And then you're able to come to the point where you can say, I appreciate this happening to me, and I realize how this made me who I am today. And that's sort of the chachma. A lot of times about Shuvas, they come and they say, try to forget my previous past. And what we're saying is Chanukah gives us the ability to tap into the Yechidah. When we tap into the Yechidah, we'll be able to come and realize that everything that happened in the past that was negative is actually not negative at all. It's actually positive. That not just the Chesher Le'achshech, but Nehefach Le'er. You can transform those things to light. This also why the time, it says in the Gemara, when do you light? Until, it says until shetichla, that will literally means like we'll finish the feet in the shuk. The Kalia regular Talmidei, until it will finish the feet of the Talmidei. The Talmidei were people that was Syrian tribe that were given like this land, and they used to come to the marketplace and sell like basically stuff to light. Because in those days, you didn't have electricity, so they go and they would light. So outside, that was lots of people in the marketplace trying to sell these things that help people light their candles and stuff, so they'd have light for the night. So that's the simple understanding. But there's a deep understanding here. Talmidei were rebelling against the king. Talmidei means that they rebelled. So meaning it was these Talmidei people literally weren't good people, and they were given this land from, I think it was David HaMelech, and when they treated with disrespect, and it was not good. So these are negative things. But we say in the Gemara, it says you light the menorah ad the regular Talmidei until the feet of Talmidei. Talmidei is Meiredas. Talmidei has the same letters as Meiredas, that they rebel. The hey misakvi mashuk, and they hanging out in the marketplace. They linger there. The Chanuka Rishus Rabim, Trudei Pruda, which is Rishus Rabim, the public domain, which is like the peaks of separation, mountains of separation. That these are the people, these are the things that are ultimately the most separated from godliness and from likus. And what happens? Ayidei Neres Chanuka, through we light the menorah, and through living Chanuka, Nasa Kalya Drega. We Kalya. What is Kalya? The separation. There's two meanings of the Kalya Drega. Kalya literally means cease, defeat of Talmidei. We're saying a deeper level him. First of all, first of all, that the light of the Chanuka it mechal mavatel, it nullifies and sort of puts away the fear of Talmudei, that they don't exist anymore. But in a deeper level, sha'ar ner Chanuka poyel kiloyin, that the ner Chanuka affects a kiloyin from like kalya kiloyin, which means kalya milashon kiloyin calls a nefesh, a yearning, a desire, a burning desire to be a longing, be connected. Gam ragli Talmudei, even onto the fear of Talmudei. Shegam hamerdim, that also the people, also the Talmudei, also these negative forces, also the negative in the world and in ourselves, yavayu lebechinas kalus hanefesh, will come to the kalus hanefesh. Now what we're saying is it's a beautiful, beautiful part. Let me explain it clearly again, and then we'll forget about it. And basically what he's saying is this concept of these regular Talmudei, these people that would come to the market and sell their wares. And basically they weren't good people and they weren't like upright, upstanding people. And they would come and sell the wares. So the halach is that you can light the menorah until there's still someone hanging out. Because the whole purpose of the menorah is Prishumenisla, it's like the miracle. It's the dafko in this Talmudei, and then you can do this publicizing of this miracle. Once they've gone, it sort of means night's done, everyone's off the streets, and then there's no real publicity. But what we're saying is on a deeper level, the regular Talmudei, that until to the extent that they take the Talmudei, which is these negative people, and you can infuse within them a light and a burning desire to be connected. And even though they seem to be negative, you can really find within them all the positive, and we can bring it out. That's what the miracle of Hanukkah is. That's what it can achieve. And what it means for us is that even within ourselves, we have things that are taking us away, that we think they take us away, or we've done things, or we look at things in our lives that have happened that haven't been good, and we're able to take it and transform it to the point that even these negative things, and even the regular Talmudei, even the lowest level, can be transformed into good. And this is through, like we said before, tapping into this Yechidah. Yeah. I think we'll stop here, and then tomorrow and next week, Monday and Tuesday, on Hanukkah, we will finish Maimon. It'll take 2 days, or 1 day even. I think we'll leave it like that. Thank you very much for joining, and have a great Shabbos.
And like on Friday.
Okay, so the question is, how do we see something? How is it possible to see something that would used to be negative, something positive? And like, I guess, meaning, and the question is, I guess it's coming from the Chassidus, so how does that work? And I forgot the second part. The question is, so the explanation, I think, way to understand is like this. It's a very good question. And the point is, there's two ways to look at our past. There's, if we believe there's an Eibishter, believe Hashem is in charge, then we have to also recognize that everything is part of the master plan. Nothing that Hashem did is not good. It doesn't mean that things happen that aren't good. It's just we don't understand necessarily everything. But the biggest difference is when we look at our past and everything that happened to us in our past or everything that was negative then as a continuation of it negative, and it's just a bad experience that I wish never happened, but we're denying the reality of Eibishter being here. Hashgacha Pratis is part of it. If there's an Eibishter and everything's Hashgacha Pratis, it must be there. And what we're saying is that tapping to the Yechidah, you're able to reach a level where not just, like I just said now, that you can recognize that this must be part of the plan, which is sort of that the darkness doesn't darken, that it won't pull you down. But even more, you'll have the ability to be able to see how that got you there. For a simple example, let's say some example. Growing up, I was a very shy person, and I didn't do much speaking. I didn't have, I had friends. Just, it could have been like in years past. I looked at it very negatively, like on myself, not on myself, on the situation and things I went through. Example, I went to a public school. I had a lot of friends. I went from Jewish school to public school. And for many years, I'm sure I looked at it very negatively. Like, I had a different thing, and why do I have to go so differently? And I had to all these things, and it was negative, and it was hard. But now, I'm able to recognize that it's because of that I've achieved so much, and it's specifically because of that. that even though at the time it was a negative occurrence, and I had to go through these trials and tribulations of being in a different environment, and I had to struggle, and all that came and it pulled me down religiously for sure. But ultimately, that's what helped me to get to where I am today. And really, and I see how much I gained from that experience. And there's many myriads of experiences in my life. And as I go older, I look back at things that happened to me that I used to look at it negatively, and I see how it's not negative at all, and actually it's a very positive thing. And that's what we're saying. How do we? So that's the point that he's trying to say. How do we see how we're able to do it? Is it's a long, it's a lifelong process, but it's first by realizing that Hashem's in charge. If something happened to me, it was meant to be. That's for sure. And then you can look what is something that how did that change me in the positive. It takes a long process, but I think the first step, practically speaking, is to misbainin. Is contemplate and really think, really understand well how Hashem's in charge, and if something happens to me, it's how it's meant to be. Now, of course, just to make sure it's clear, you don't ever say that to someone that went through a hardship. Oh, it's hashgacha pratis. Someone through tragedy or something tragic. You never say it to anyone. This is a personal, private thing between you and yourself, or you and a mashpia. But that's sort of the idea.